Hello everyone, welcome back to another 9 R.I.P video. We're in chapter 8 of Koyo. I'm recording this at the end of the night, so hopefully my voice isn't too hoarse from talking. The last video I recorded as soon as I woke up. I think I had coffee, so right when I first woke up. But my goal today is to record 2 episodes so I can start editing some over the weekend and maybe try to get ahead in videos again. I just uploaded one today, so I don't have to worry about editing this one today. But if I record and get some recorded ahead of time, then it'll be easier for me to upload quicker because all I have to do is edit and post. Also, I'll get to read back-to-back videos because I don't like leaving off at these cliffhangers anymore. I guess the last one wasn't really a cliffhanger, but still. I'm still curious what's going on. I think she went to sleep.
Misa, hora, okite, Misa.
I just realized how loud my volume was. Scared me. Mom.
もう寝るなら部屋に戻ってっていつも言ってるでしょ。小さい頃からこの癖だけはなかなか治らないんだから。
Sorry. I guess I just kind of felt drained. Turning my neck around the room as I spoke, I peered around the spacious living room. There was a TV mounted on the wall, the sofa. From the open kitchen, I saw my mother preparing food. Everything about the room looked familiar. It was as it should be, and yet, what is it? I can't put my finger on it, but something about this all feels strange. And what was I doing before I fell asleep here? I gently touched my throat, and my mother looked over with a bitter smile.
まあいいわ。あなただって受験勉強で疲れてるんだもの。毎日勉強お疲れ様。明日には頼まれてた過去問買ってくるから待っててね。
Asked to get... What are you talking about? I haven't even decided what school I'm going to.
何言ってるの。昨日願書出してきたんでしょ。ほら、さやかちゃんと一緒に。
Yesterday.
そうだよ、ミサ。ひどい。忘れちゃったの？
I hadn't noticed her before. I was stunned to see Sayaka suddenly appear. Why is Sayaka at my house?
やっぱり願書提出するとぐーっと気が引き締まるよね。ついに受験に挑むんだ。絶対正銀に合格するぞーって。
その息その息。二人とも頑張ってね。
Oh, wait a minute. Completely ignoring me, the two merely smiled brightly at each other. Their smile seemed so unnatural, so eerie, I couldn't help but gulp in response. But, Sayaka, that's not... You said you were going to study the occult, right? You found a university that was focusing on paranormal research and...
何それ？オカルトとか本気で言ってる？私たち医学部目指すんだよ。くだらないこと考える暇あったら公式の一つも覚えないと。
No, that's not like Sayaka at all. My discomfort from before began to turn into fear.
あ？何騒いでんだ？
Sis, you gotta listen to me. Mom and Sayaka are acting super weird.
二人が変なのはいつもだろ。
No, it's not like that. It's like we're completely on different pages. All of a sudden, they're talking about me taking entrance exams.
ああ、正銀のこと？
My sister placed her hand on my shoulder and gently squeezed. Her hand was kind, but it also prevented me from leaving.
サンキュ、ミサ。あんた本当にいい妹だよ。期待を裏切った私の代わりに母さんの願いを叶えてくれるなんて。
Huh?
どうしたのミサ。もう悩んだりしなくていいのよ。 心配しなくてもあなたの道はちゃんと私が決めてあげるから。
I don't understand, but I need to stay calm. I thought back to the advice that Koyo gave me that I had to face the situation. I looked at the three of them smiling wildly and spoke the words that had been stuck in the back of my throat. I don't hate the idea of going to Seiya, and being a doctor is something to strive for, but I have to choose my own path and I don't have the knowledge or determination to decide right now. I'm going to do my research and find the path that's right for me. Suddenly, the three of them stopped moving and looked at me with the color draining from their faces. With almost machine-like movements, they began to open their mouths in unison.
何が不満なの？
全部決めてあげるって言ってるのに。
大学も就職も魂を捧げる相手も。
The one to give your soul to, that's what I think it says. Give my soul. As I heard those words, I looked around the area. I know, where's the demon at? Suddenly, everything grew distorted and began to melt away.
かわいそうに。今よりも現実の方が辛いなんてな。
Still talking to you, even with the Khalifa flowers. That voice. Although I was frightened by the appearance of the incubus, I was relieved that the previous scene was just a dream. I'm so glad.
そう、夢だ。でも現実とそう変わらないだろう。
That's not...
思い当たる節でもあったか？
That's not true. My sister would never say that, and neither would Sayaka.
まあその二人はお前の味方をしてくれるかもしれない。だが母親はどうだろうね。
Man, I hear his voice and all I see is Yang. Because he speaks exactly like this. So condescending of the main character. Like he's always in control of everything. It's a good game. You guys should play that.
これまでずっとお前にかけていた母親はお前について回り人生を狂わせる。
That's not.
自信なさげだね。大丈夫？
You know, when they first talked about a god spiriting her away to this world, I thought it was him. I thought he was the god, but apparently not. I can't think of who else would be the god. It's got to be like the secret route or something, because I think I can't picture any other character in any route doing it. And I know there's a secret route. So, gotta be something in there. The sinister sound of his laugh, his words were so terrible I put my hands over my ears. Wake up from this dream, please.
この悪夢から逃れても無駄だ。だって言っただろう。現実とそう変わらないと。
Even if I get back to the mortal realm, will it really be the same? Is he right about that? But then the words that Seiya told me popped into my head. I had to keep a strong heart, otherwise the incubus would win. I glared at the incubus standing in front of me in the darkness. That's not reality. I only believe what I see with my own eyes. The dreams you show me are just illusions. My mother's not like how you think she is. The vision of my mother you showed me is nothing like her.
そう、まあいいよ、今回は。
Okay, bye. With those final words, he left, and the darkness began to clear. My consciousness sunk deeper, and I began to dream my own dreams. While shaking off the lingering uneasiness in my chest, I slowly opened my eyes. The scene sprawled out before me was the same office in hell as before. Next to me, Seiya sat in a chair reading a book.
無事に目覚めたということは、無魔の誘惑に勝てたようですね。苦しそうにしていたので心配しましたよ。起こそうかとも思いましたが、 自力で振り払えなければ意味がありません。手助けできず申し訳ありません。
They had nothing to apologize for, so I shook my head. The incubus. This time I was strong enough to chase him away, but if this was going to happen every night, the incubus himself said God's blessing doesn't reach hell, so if I just returned to the mortal realm.
あなたは自分が思っているよりもずっと強い人間だと私は思います。
Oh, by the way, I looked this up afterwards, but Seiya is the next character after Koyo, and then Minami, which is the demon boy. So I'm looking forward to their roots next. Let's see, we're on chapter 8, 8, 9, endings, and then common root.
二度も悪魔からのささやきを跳ねのけたのですからね。
I tightly clenched my fists. I wouldn't let go of these feelings no matter what. Then Seiya took my hand.
あなたのために祈りましょう。悪魔により汚れを受けた魂が浄化されますように。
As he said this, he brought my hand towards his lips. Of course. Just as I pulled my hand away from him, Koyo entered the room. Aw, he didn't see. He doesn't get jealous. Did he see that just now?
これはお早いお帰りで。
I think he did. In my haste to make an excuse, I realized I couldn't explain without my voice.
何この状況。
堅穏な表情になるのも当然ですが、彼女へ祈りを捧げようとしていただけです。先ほど彼女は、
No. Seiya frowned, stopping mid-sentence when I turned to face him, pleading with my eyes for him to stop talking. You don't want Koyo to know about the demon. Please, I don't want to worry Koyo. If he knew I was attacked by an incubus every time I slept in hell, he might insist on taking me back to the mortal realm. But Reika hasn't been caught yet.
実はあなたがそばにいない隙に彼女を誘惑していたのですよ。まあ、振られてしまいましたが。
Well, that story drastically changed. Oh my goodness. What? That's funny. I appreciate him coming up with an excuse, but couldn't he have come up with literally anything else? Oh man. Koyo narrowed his eyes, stepping forward, grabbed my hand, and wiped on the hem of his clothes. Don't touch her. That's really funny that he wiped it off. You know, I'm gonna go down a rabbit hole real quick. Yang in Pure Fury is very possessive too. So whenever the main character got her hand kissed by another guy, he like literally took her into the shower to go wash her. It's really funny. And then he proceeded to make her understand who she actually belonged to. Anyway, that's what this reminds me of.
変態菌が移る。
What was that? Then Seiya, with a forced smile, offered me a handkerchief.
紅葉さんに掴まれている手を拭いた方がよろしいかと。
Oh my goodness, they're gonna be fighting over her. Now you gotta wipe off your Koyo germs.
うじうじといつまでも思い悩む陰鬱とした菌が今まさに付着していますから。
This is so entertaining. I love this so much. What is nonsense? Seeing how Seiya sees Koyo, maybe because Koyo has the tendency to bottle things up, he calls him that. He calls him nonsense. The pouty. Wait, why does it say pouty germ? It says nonsense here. Anyway. I guess they're both committed to going down this road.
俺がいつうじうじした？
彼女がこうなってからため息ばかりついているのはどこの誰でしょうか。怪我をさせた罪悪感や心配など思うところがあるのは理解できますが、 ならなおさら笑顔を向けるべきでは？
へえ、言うじゃん。
This is bad. It looked like they were going to get into it, and I was right next to them. I gotta get out of here. Without explanation, I leapt off the sofa and got out of there. You scared her away now. So with that, I left the room and headed down the corridor looking out a window. The sky in hell looks so red. There's no sun, moon, or stars, so why does the sky glow that color? Well, I guess logic from the mortal realm doesn't really apply here. Speaking of the mortal realm, Senna's face flashed in my mind. I wonder if Senna's okay. After I collapsed the other day, I was told that Senna stayed in the mortal realm. But given that Rick is there too, it could be dangerous. What was that? I heard the familiar ring of a smartphone. I looked down to see a message. Misa, this is Seiya. Where are you right now? Uh-oh. So this thing has a message function. It really is just like a regular smartphone. I'm in the center courtyard. I see. In that case, it should be fine. I'm sure you will be safe from the incubus as long as you stay inside the building. But he may try to attack you outside, so please be careful. That's right. In the dream, I could only see a shadow. From the way he spoke, I suspect his real body is in hell somewhere.
まさかそれであいつと連絡取ってんの？
Oh no, Koyo's going to be jealous. I can't stand jealous men either. Dang it. Don't be jealous. Really upset, Koyo strode over and began looking at my phone. Then, with slight hesitation, he let out a sigh.
悪い、こんなんで。
Well, at least he's apologizing.
気になっちゃうんだよね。せいやさんとあんたがコソコソしてると。嫉妬してんのかも。かっこ悪い。
Hey, I'm glad he's being honest with his feelings. It drives me nuts when the characters, like, don't say anything. Does that mean he likes me?
まあ、あの人って乙女脳で変態だけど、しっかりした人だし。惹かれても不思議じゃない。
I frantically shook my head. I don't feel that way about Seiya at all.
それじゃスマホ見せて。
He seriously cares that much. So you show him the phone, obviously. What is the choice here? Oh, man, I'm like way far. I'm like looking at Yukimaru's walkthrough right now. Wait, Koyo, go back. We're in chapter 8, and this is a save file. So we're going to save. And we're going to show him the phone, obviously. Even if I think it's a lie, I should keep it to myself. That would be better. I said show the phone, right? Okay. I don't want there to be any more misunderstandings between us. As much as I wanted to prioritize my feelings, I was doing this because I cared about him. My hand shook as I offered him the phone. Then without taking the phone, Koyo gently pushed it back to me.
悪い。試すような真似して。本気で見ようとか思ってないから。
Just her willingness was enough for you to trust her. Huh?
でも、そっか。
As I felt the sensation of his large hand patting me on the head, I breathed a sigh of relief to learn there was no misunderstandings between us.
悪い。あんたの気持ち、確かめるような真似しちゃって。
I shook my head and Koyo flashed me a bitter smile before opening his mouth.
これからのことを考えなきゃな。
Why don't you write some stuff down and talk to him? Does he mean after we return to the mortal realm? Being with him, a ghost, could only be possible if I was a living ghost. Glancing at Koyo, our eyes met. Usually at times like this, he would look away, but this time was different. He smiled lightly and cocked his head.
そんな顔しないで。俺にも考えくらいあるからさ。
kind of ideas.
あんたに言わなきゃなんないことはあんだけど、今じゃない気がするから、ちょっと待ってて。
What does that mean? Koyo continued to look at me, a cheerful look on his face. Oh, really? What are these thoughts? I don't like that Misa can't talk. Sometime later, Koyo said he has some research to do and went off on his own, so I decided to wander the building looking for Seiya. Ah, there he is. I gingerly tapped him on the shoulder and he turned around.
ああ、あなたでしたか。私に用事ですか？
After I nodded, I handed him the phone that he let me borrow.
紅葉さんに話を知られたくないのなら、内緒で話もしやすくなりますし、持っているべきかと思いますが。
Oh, that's why she hesitated, because he's talking about the demon attack in the messages. It just dawned on me. I took out the notebook from my pocket and jotted a note and showed it to him. This will only cause more misunderstandings.
そういう話ですか。紅葉さんも案外嫉妬深いようですね。
Seiya gleefully laughed as he spoke before taking the smartphone back.
ちょうど紅葉さんもいないことですし、聞いておきたいことはありますか？
Upon his prompting, I picked up my pen and began writing out my question. How can I get rid of the incubus completely?
それはなかなか難しいかと。夢の中のあれは不死です。危害を加えても本体には影響ない。ムマ自身が諦めるのを待つしかありません。
Gives up, huh? Filled with despair at his unhelpful words, I wrote down what was on my mind. Will I be free of him if I go back to the mortal realm?
残念ですが、一度でもあれに目をつけられれば、うつしおでも関係ありません。
So that means unless that thing gives up on me, I'll be stuck having nightmares for the rest of my life. I cast my eyes downward at the depressing news as another employee approached Seiya.
せいやさん、お話中失礼します。ミスミレイカの件でちょっと。
Upon hearing the words from his coworker, Seiya glanced at me and quickly bowed his head.
残念ですが、仕事に戻らなければなりません。
I nodded back at him and Seiya and the other employee walked away from me. After Seiya left, I sat on a bench in the courtyard and thought about the incubus. I remembered Sayaka and I watching horror movies with demons in them before. I was pretty sure that in at least one of them there was an exorcist who fought the demons. Of course, I didn't have the power or knowledge to do that. But having to be scared every time I go to sleep is just too much. I sighed and looked up at the Khalifa flower swaying in the wind. Seiya did say this flower has the power to purify evil. But when I fell asleep, the incubus was still able to attack me. Maybe it would have been more effective if I attacked him with it directly. Just then one of the petals fell from the flower and landed directly into my lap. I plucked it up with my hand. I had to try it out. If I didn't do something, that would be the end of it. Maybe I should ask Seiya, but he seems really busy though. Can I really leave the walls of HO and go confront the demon by myself? I shuddered with fear. I didn't want to run away. Scary as it may be, I had to face it, both the incubus and my future. I quickly stood up, my legs shaking. Don't leave. Like, Seiya warned you about this. Dang it. Whoa. I stepped outside and with a gasp of admiration, I took in the sights of the city. When I imagined hell, I envisioned buildings made of human bones and rivers of blood, but this was nothing like that. Much like the building where Seiya worked, hell had a look of an exotic city. Not to mention the loads of people that strode to and fro in the city streets. But at a glance, the city may have looked normal, but the residents weren't at all. Some looked vaguely human, others had large fangs or a single eye, a few even seemed contorted. The appearance of these creatures was far more chilling than the aesthetic of hell itself. As long as I have the Khalifa flowers, I should be alright. I have to find the incubus. How do I find him? I've never seen an incubus. I only know that it has 2 horns. And that was the only information I had. I sighed at my lack of forethought. And then you just left. I know, right? A human-like creature with horns. Can I really find him? I'm sure he'll just find you. The people walking by didn't have horns. Well, some of them did. Some with 1, some with 3, and some with 5. But even if I found someone with 2 horns, that didn't necessarily mean they were the one hunting my dreams. Haunting, sorry. Maybe I should go back.
大丈夫ですか?
Oh, that's what he really sounds like? That's what I imagined him sounding like, not Yang. I did not imagine him at all. So what, he has... Does he have a split personality, or... like, I'm so confused now. Well, anyway. I'm glad that we're getting like an inside look of these characters before we enter their route, because it builds up excitement, anticipation. Yeah, it builds up anticipation. That doesn't look like horns though. I turned around to see a young man who was flagging me down to talk to me. Ah, he's got 2 horns.
聞いてますか?
I hastily nodded back at him.
立ち止まっているからどうしたんだろうって。それで声を。困っていることがないならいいんですけど。
His voice grew increasingly small, so much so that I barely heard the last thing he said. The horns may be the same, but his demeanor is totally different. You'll let him fool you, he's a demon. Is it even worth asking him about the incubus? Okay, you should get away from him. Let's see, chapter... It's another save file, and we're going to ask about the incubus. Last save file. Ask about the incubus. I quickly took out my notepad and began to write. I'm looking for someone. He's got 2 horns just like you. Oh, really? I stared at him as he read the paper, and then he spoke as though he was thinking.
それ、人じゃないかと。悪魔か、それが妖怪かも?
Hearing him say the word demon made my ears perk up. I'm looking for an incubus. I know he has 2 horns.
僕の知り合いというか、知っています。きっと、そのムマを。
It's me. I involuntarily leaned forward.
もしかして教えろって言うんですか?
In response to my vigorous nodding, he looked terribly frightened.
ダメですよ。危ないです。彼はとっても危険だし、あなた一人で行くなんて。
Please tell me where he is. I want to meet him.
それなら僕もついていきます。心配だから。
Or should be worried for her to go alone. Why don't you go with her? I felt greatly reassured when he told me that he would come along with me. He began walking away, and I followed after him. It's a trap. Don't do it. Don't go down the alley. Surrounded by half-decaying buildings, I couldn't help but wonder if anyone actually lived here. I followed the young man as he weaved in between various alleys and back streets. You never go into the back alley. This is like a joke in Code Realized too. You go into the back alley and there's trouble all the time. He looked like a small, nervous animal looking around back and forth. As we reached the end of the alley, he turned around with a smile on his face.
この辺りにそのムマがいます。
Despite what the boy said, there didn't seem to be anyone around here.
どこを見てるんですか? いるじゃないですか。
I know, he's right in front of you.
お前の目の前に。
Oh my goodness. A silent gasp escaped my throat as the young man peered into my face.
まさか、お前が直接会いに来るなんてね。
Something about him was familiar. That's the incubus. Surprised, I stepped back as the incubus narrowed his eyes and smirked.
ずーっと会いたかったんだよ、ミサちゃん。
He doesn't sound like he's not using the same voice as he does in the dream. Dang it. Oh well, I guess that's a good thing, right? Because I said that the voice doesn't add up to his small boy persona, so I'm glad that his voice is different.
ずっと見てきたんだよ、お前がガキの頃からね。でも神に守られていたから近づけなくてさ。
Since she was a child and a pesky god, okay. The fact that he's been watching me since I was a child sent a chill down my spine. Did he just say protected by a god? Again, a god was being mentioned. I had previously been told by the spirit boar that a god had spirited me away. Could they be the same god? More importantly, however, was what the demons said about the god protecting me since I was a child. The protection didn't work in hell. Then if I went back to the mortal realm...
ミサちゃん、ねえねえ、ミサちゃん。
His heels clicked on the ground as he approached me step by step. With each step he took towards me, I took a step back, keeping the distance between us. There's a wall behind me. Maybe I can use the Khalifa flower if he gets close enough.
お前とこうして目を合わせて会話をして。
Man, his voice actor has a whole range of tones that he can use in one character. Could give you whiplash.
この時を待っていたからかな。感動しちゃってる。ほら、見て。手なんて震えちゃってるよ。
He wasn't lying. The expression wasn't one of madness, but rather it seemed genuinely happy.
お前の魂は欲しいんだけど、少しくらい遊ぶのもいいかもね。
Can't play long enough for Koyo to come save you. Oh my goodness. Saying that, he reached out his hand. Before he could grab me, I thrust the Khalifa flower into his chest. Immediately, I felt an electric shock. With a small burst of energy, the demon stumbled back. It hurt. But it didn't seem to be enough to bring him down, just to stagger him. Maybe I should make a run for it. In a flash, I slipped past him and started to run. Then I felt someone grab my hand.
逃げるぞ、ミサ!
I knew it. Koyo.
あれは無理。さっさと逃げ。
あれあれ、紅葉くんじゃない。
As he spoke, the incubus moved in front of us. His eyes suddenly glowed red. My goodness.
マジかよ。あいつの目を絶対見るな。
His eyes. But something happened when they turned red. I was already looking into his eyes, but I felt fine. Perhaps it was because the incubus was looking directly at Koyo.
名前を呼ばれてこっちを見ちゃうなんてどんだけ間抜けなの？助けに来た王子様なのにかっこ悪い。
どうして俺の名前を知ってる？
そんなのこいつをずっと見てたからわかるに決まってんじゃん。
あんたもストーカーかよ。
Koyo can relate. Koyo chuckled with a sneer and whispered softly to me.
俺は動けない。だからあんた一人でも行け。
Uh-oh. There's no way I can do that. I tried to tell him that as I clasped my hands tightly around his.
互いをかばって思い合っていて。なんて気持ち悪いんだろうね。見てるだけでヘドが出るよ。
Makes you sick, huh? You're literally the character of the next common route. I'm looking forward to it.
でもミサちゃん、紅葉といたいならミサちゃんも死ななきゃだね。
A true devil, pinpointing exactly what to say to break me.
ああ。それはない。
あ？何？今俺がこいつと話してる最中なんだけど。
いや、だって 俺死んでないし。
I knew it. This is what I was talking about in the last episode where I think I spoiled myself on something. It's Koyo's not dead. Which means I'm okay if she goes back to the normal realm. Silence. What?
その通り。彼はミサさんと同じ生き量です。
Oh, he's a living ghost? Whoa. The chains cut their way across the ground. Dodging them at the last minute, the incubus stared straight behind us.
ムマと聞いてからお前ではないかと疑っていましたが、予想は的中していたようですね、南。
せいや、邪魔するな。
そのように瞳をきらめかせても私には無意味。お前が焦っているなんて珍しいこともある。相当に彼女がお気に入りのようですね。
He then took out the Khalifa flower and approached Koyo. A puff of black smoke burst out of Koyo's body and he blinked.
行きなさい。南が相手となれば私もかばう余裕がない。大通りに出るまで走りなさい。その後、人混みに紛れて HO に戻るのです。
I've never heard Seiya be so frantic before.
くそ、行かせ。
As the incubus started to dash, Seiya's chains halted him, giving us a chance to escape.
せいやさん、サンキュー。
It took Koyo's hand and the two of us ran away as fast as we could.
ここまで来れば安心か。
I have a feeling I'm not going to get a CG in this one because it's 46 minutes into recording and it's almost over. I just know it. They're all an hour long now. I'm really looking forward to the next common route with Seiya and Minami, and they don't get along. So this is going to be the first common route where like the characters are enemies with each other. I don't know if I'd say enemies, but they don't like each other, obviously. And Seiya's got some cool powers. I don't know what the chains are, but I really like them. When we finally arrived at a large street full of people, Koyo and I exhaled together.
はあ、ビビった。さすがに悪魔はないわ。平気、大丈夫。どこも何もされてない。
When I nodded back at him, Koyo flashed me a relieved smile.
よかった。ならこのまま人の流れに沿っていこう。
Go ahead and ask him. He started to walk, but I only stood there and tilted my head.
あ、何ぼさっとしてんの？まさか精神的になんかされた？
No, that's not it. I quickly shook my head.
ならどうしたの？
Are you really dead? Oh, sorry. Are you really alive? I tilted my head and... This was the choice that spoiled me. Are you really alive? And I'm like, if that's in Koyo's route, I'm sure she's asking it to Koyo. I was hoping maybe she would ask it to the demon, but I mean, I'm fine if Koyo's alive, right? Are you really? Actually, it's not a save, so we're gonna say I'm sorry first. Oh, that's also an affection up. Hold on. Let me just double check. Okay, this choice doesn't show up in any of the alternate endings, so I'm sorry. I mouthed the words to him. Koyo merely stared at me with a puzzled look. Before asking if he was alive, I had to apologize for making him come save me. Why is he smiling?
ごめん。たださ、あんたには助けられてばっかりだったから逆に嬉しいんだよね。やっとあんたを助けられて。ねえ、あんたに見合った男になれた？
Aw, he asked if he's a guy worthy of her. That's so adorable. I had caused so much trouble for him, and I felt guilty about it, though when he said that, I was so happy and relieved. As I nodded slowly back to him, he gave me a wide smile.
そう。なら満足。
It's so cute. How far do I have to go before I can go back? Koyo stopped speaking before carefully glancing around.
歩きながら話そう。さっきのが追ってきたら厄介だし。
Probably that far. Let's go back up. Alright, are you really alive? Why is that not an affection up? I'm so confused. That's the choice though. Are you really alive? I guess we'll see what happens. After letting go of his hand, I began to write in my notebook. Koyo, are you really alive? The silence was brutal. Why won't he just answer me? Then Koyo slowly began to speak.
なんつうか。俺の方もいろいろと事情があってさ。
Koyo stopped speaking before carefully glancing around.
歩きながら話そう。さっきのが追ってきたら厄介だし。
I nodded and took his hand and we started walking. I'm wondering why it's not an affection up and the other one is, but it's not a save file and that's the choice that it says to take. So confused. Through our intertwined hands, it was as though we were saying we never wanted to be parted again. Just by merely holding hands, I could feel his anxiety. It made my heart race.
あんたが見た悪夢のこと、ある程度せいやさんから聞いてる。
Oh, Seiya told him.
あの人も最初は渋ってたけど、あんたがいなくなったって伝えたら、心当たりあるって説明してくれたんだ。気づいてやれなくて、ごめん。
Why is Koyo apologizing?
麗華のことで手一杯だからって、心配して黙っててくれたんだよね。実際そう思われても仕方ない。あんたの様子がおかしかったのに、気づくこともできなかったし。 せめてあんたが眠るとき、そばにいてやればよかった。
Koyo turned his gaze away from me and I kept shaking my head over and over. That simply wasn't the case. Koyo hadn't done anything wrong. The real issue was that I was the one who failed to trust him. I kept everything inside.
これじゃ、あんたを置いていけないな。あんなのに狙われてるとか心配すぎる。
What does that mean? Koyo paused for a moment before letting out a big sigh.
実はせいやさんから麗華の情報を聞いたんだ。あいつは今、うつしおでナイフを手に麗を見つけては切りつけてるらしい。切り裂き魔っていうか。俺がせいやさんに借りてあんたを傷つけたあのナイフ。あの時俺はナイフを地面に落としちゃってさ。せいやさんが駆けつけた時には麗華と一緒にナイフもなくなってたらしい。だからあの時のどさくさに紛れてあいつが持ち去ったんじゃないかって。それ聞いた時セナが浮かんでさ。俺に関係してる死者の中で一番仲がいいやつ。麗華なら俺を呼び出す方法として狙いかねない。
In fact, Reika had made contact with Senna before, and Kudaha too.
あいつのことだし、今試し切りでもしながら作戦練ってるんじゃないかな。
Hearing all of this, I felt the color drain from my face.
当然せいやさんもそれは把握してて、セナに職員を貼り付けてくれてるけど、絶対安全とは言い切れない。
I know you need to go bring her down. I gently tugged on his arm. You should go right away. I wasn't sure if he got the message, but he smiled back at me.
あんたをここに置いていくのが守ることだと思ってたけど、あんなのがいるんじゃ無理だな。
I know, right? And she's healed, so just take her back. He spoke with a serious look on his face.
ミサのこと絶対に守る。だから俺と一緒にうつしおへ帰ろう。
Yay!
一番安全なのはあんたが今すぐ目覚めてくれることなんだけど、麗華もさすがに生きた人間には手を出せないだろうし。
Then I remembered something and I took out my pen and notepad. Oh, you're a living ghost, right?
ああ。
That was the most awkward sound I've ever heard. Koyo moaned and then awkwardly scratched his head.
全部が落ち着いてから言おうと思ってたんだけど、悪魔から横やり入ったら言わずにいられなくて。
Why did he keep quiet about it? I moved my mouth silently and lightly thumped his chest with my hand.
何言ってるかわかんないけど、怒ってんのだけはわかる。
Yeah, she is.
俺も最近知ってびっくりしたばっかなんだよね。
Wait, he just found out?
せいやさんに初めて会った日、あんたぶっ倒れたじゃん。その後に言われた。
Oh, so he really thought he was a ghost the whole time.
さっさと目覚めてくれれば、レイカも諦めるって。
Is that why... Wait. Seiya told him the day she collapsed? Oh, okay. Because Seiya had something to tell him in the last episode, but he didn't.
なんでも、あの火事で運よく生き残ってたらしくてさ。今も病院で寝たまま起きないみたい。あんたと同じ。
He's been in a coma for a year. Tears of joy threatened to spill from my eyes. I'm so glad that you're alive.
でも、俺はセナの成仏を見届けたい。だからあんたは俺よりも一足先に目覚めて。それにこういうのもなんだけどさ、あんたが生き返ってくれた方が俺も自由に動けるし。
I know Koyo's right. I wanted to be by his side to support him, but that wasn't all. I gripped the pen and started writing again. I'll be lonely without you, Koyo, so I want you to find me when you come back to life. When I finished writing, I showed it to him and he gave me a sad smile.
当たり前。あんたは俺の拾い物なんだから。一度手に入れたもんは手放さない。
Finders Keepers? That's adorable. Finders Keepers, huh? This brings back memories.
ミサ、ありがとう。待っていて。
Aww. Wait for me. See, this is so sweet because like in the other endings and stuff, like some of them they have to wait forever. Like Hibiki has to wait forever for her to die and be reunited, but this one is just temporary because they're both alive. It won't be very long, hopefully. Well, one chapter anyway. Sorry, I know I'm talking a lot about this. That's probably the end of it. I see, it's the end. We didn't even get a perspective because there's no affection up. I don't understand. Whatever. No CG in that one. I kind of had a feeling. I'm like, we got a CG in the last one. We're probably not getting a CG in this one. I don't know why it does this. Why can't we have a CG in all of them? Whatever. Anyway, I don't really have much else to say at the end of this because I said most of it during the video. All I can say is Seiya and Minami are going to be very interesting routes to go down. The end of this route is going to mark the halfway point for this game, and I've been playing this since October, which is kind of insane actually. It's taking me so long. It takes me so long to do games. I don't know why. Like if I was not recording this, I probably would have been done in like just a couple of weeks of the game releasing. Because I'll just binge read it. But recording and editing takes a lot of time. And I can only do it at certain times of the day. So if something happens and I miss my time frame for recording, well then the video is gone for the day. Anyway, my voice is getting more hoarse. So if you guys did enjoy, drop a like down below and or subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one.